There's a big new update coming to The Last of Us Part 2, or maybe it's already up by the time you watch this. It should namely launch on August 13th, but I already got an early access code from Sony, so I can give you the full rundown of all the new features, including the grounded difficulty, gameplay modifiers, and way more. So I will tell you everything you need to know in this video. A like would be super appreciated. And let's go. Maybe you already noticed the 2 new trophies that are separate from the platinum, so won't impact your progress. There's 1 new silver trophy for completing the story on the grounded difficulty, and there's also a new bronze one for the permadeath setting. And it is bronze because you can actually enable permadeath while playing on very light. But it can only be selected when picking a new game or selecting the New Game Plus. So then you select the difficulty that you want and they can toggle permadeath on, and there are actually 3 options. You can go true hardcore and have it count for the whole game. So if you then die, the save will reset. But you can also do it per act or per chapter. So then you don't have to play the whole game again when you die. And I do think this also counts for the trophy, although I'm not entirely sure. There is a red warning text though, saying that you cannot manually save the game, and that if you quit the game or exit the application while in a dangerous position, it will be treated as a death. And if you die in the permadeath mode, then you will see a pop-up saying where you died, who or what killed you, the survival time, and also the difficulty, in this case grounded. And well, yeah, that mode from the original is now back in The Last of Us Part 2. Like, there's no UI that tells you how much health you have left, so you have to look at cues from Ellie or Abby and the screen to see if she's hurt and need a bandage. Also, gun ammo can be spotted in the quick menu only, and overall there are way less, and I really mean way less, resources laying around. So you have to really make every bullet count or really go for that stealthy approach, because the chances that you get new ammo or can craft something new is super low. If you like some things that the grounded difficulty does but don't want to go all in, then you can also select the grounded options in the custom difficulty menu. And here we'll see that the grounded difficulty also increases the amount of damage you take from enemies. The accuracy of enemy gunfire should be better, although they can still miss when I was trying grounded. And I was actually surprised by how many kills Jesse got. So your allies are still pretty good, but of course less powerful than on a light difficulty. The enemy detection is huge though, like they spot you very easily, and you also don't have an indicator of course anymore. And another big one, just like in the first game, you cannot use the listen mode in the grounded difficulty, so you have to spot enemies or hear them the old-fashioned and more realistic way. And there is now also an option to disable the listen feature in other difficulties as well. Good to know though, and I found this pretty annoying, is that it will be off by default if you switch from the grounded difficulty to a lower difficulty. So it is not possible when playing the grounded difficulty to like switch to another difficulty on the fly, while that is of course possible with the other difficulties. So if you pick grounded, you cannot change it, and it likely also has to do with the trophy. But if you for example want to play one encounter on the grounded difficulty and then go back to the menu and select another encounter on survivor, then the listen mode is still disabled. So you have to turn it on again by going to the controls options. They also added more control options, like the addition of the motion sensor functionality, so you can physically move your controller to help you aim. It works okay-ish, but it doesn't beat the right analog stick that you can, by the way, still use when you have the motion sensor enabled. And I still got some nice headshots with this. You also see me play with one of the many new render modes that they added. The moment you boot up the game after installing the update, you will see the notification dot near the extras tab. And if you go there, then you will see the new render modes and also the gameplay modifiers that you can all unlock for points that you earn by playing the game. But if you finish the story, then you likely have enough for all of it. I want to go over the really fun gameplay modifiers in a second, but first let's talk about the new render modes. My favorite is the graphic that adds this telltale art style to the game that of course fits the world very well and lets you spot everything in the world very easily. And that is not the the case for most of the other modes. With the second mode, called Headache, it's namely super hard to spot windows, so you do not know if you have to break them until you like run up to them. And as the name suggests, it's not a really fun mode to toy around with for a long time, although it is a cool visual twist. Afterlife makes everything more horror-like, but it also makes it pretty hard to spot enemies, sadly. I love though how everything is black and white, but the fire from the Molotov cocktail is still nicely showcased. 8-bit is a bit crazy, but works surprisingly well in light areas and makes it look like a completely different game, and I love the pixels from the scramblers explosions here. Really cool. You also got the watercolor that just adds some lines to the character and the overall watery look. Another favorite of mine is the Void, that makes the game look like a test environment with white assets and codes in the distance. And again, where some modes make it harder to spot the enemies, this one actually makes it really easy because they are simply red models, and when you take them out, they turn white and blend in with the environment. So you know they won't get up again. Really unique way to play the game, and again, one of my favorite render modes in the game. You also got Dungeon that creates this cartoony look that also works surprisingly well and looks pretty great. Pop Poster is a little bit too much, where the environment is red and you are this yellow-blue character. If you like the old film style, then the 1960 is great. And it also creates this horror ambience, especially in indoor areas. So I totally think people will dig that. So really cool render modes, especially compared to the first game. And you can also run around in the photo mode filters that we already saw. But now you can just play the full game in these modes. And of course, you can also use the photo mode while playing in any of the render modes. So that will add a ton of extra depth to everyone who likes to take pictures in this game. I personally cannot get enough of the gameplay, and now we got new ways to change that experience up. One is pretty wild, called the Mirror Worlds, that lets you mirror the world. So if you know the game by heart, then playing it again with this mode can be the way to go. I really had a hard time getting used to this, and it's even worse in the mirror on death setting. So then every time you die or restart a checkpoint, the game world will be mirrored compared to how you had it the last time. It's pretty nuts. There are also cheats that you can activate, but you cannot do it in the grounded mode. Makes sense for the trophy as well. You can activate the mirror world though, and also the audio features that are all like not that interesting in my opinion. We got 8-bit. And also 4-bit. Yeah, it doesn't sound that great. We also have helium though, which is pretty funny, especially in melee combat against humans. And you can also select a xenon if that is what you prefer. Okay, so the final two ones are pretty funny, just for a bit though, like I switch back to the regular music very fast. The cheats though are really cool, like you can one-shot enemies with every bullet, making you feel like an absolute badass, or that melee weapons always one-hit KO enemies. Pretty fun in combination with the infinite melee durability. So you could try and do a melee only run if that is what you want. If you do like to use the listen mode, they can enhance it with the infinite listen mode range cheat, so you see way more enemies. We also got the standard infinite ammo cheat that even adds ammo to guns that don't have it at the start of an encounter, which is pretty nice. You got infinite crafting, so you can always make health kits or the special knives from Abby. And there are two cheats that are all about slowing down the time. The bullet speed mode is actually pretty fun, so then the moment you aim down sight, the time is slowed down for an unlimited duration, so you got all the time to take out the enemies. And the moment you put your gun away, the time will continue as it normally would, so totally switch between that, otherwise you will be waiting a very long time to reload your crossbow, for example. But yeah, overall I really like this. Pretty cool Max Payne style mode, and totally enable other cheats as well, so you for example one hit KO enemies. And you can also play the whole game at 50% slow motion, and that isn't that exciting at all. I will leave a link to the patch notes that includes some other smaller fixes in the video description, so you can check them out if you want. And totally subscribe, of course, if you haven't already, for more on The Last of Us Part 2 or Ghost of Tsushima updates or updates on other PlayStation exclusives. I will cover it all here. A like on the video would be super appreciated, and totally check out my previous Sunday video on Sony's next-gen tactic. Like, there are some big rumors, so it's pretty interesting. For now though, I will speak to you next time, and goodbye.